Shalom everybody. Parashah Shlach Lecha. The portion of Shlach Lecha, the word Shlach. Shlach means to send. To send. And the parashah starts by Vaidaber. Vaidaber. Vaidaber, God is talking to Moses, but Vaidaber is more harsh talk. Vayomer is more soft talk. Vaidaber is more harsh talk. God is talking to Moshe Rabbeinu, Shlach Lecha, send for yourself. People, the tour, the land of Canaan. Canaan, use the word Canaan. Why do we care that it's called Canaan? If the same verse, Asher ani noten lebnei Israel, God said, I'm giving that land to the Israelite. Why do you have to call it Canaan? Call it by the name of the land of Bnei Israel. Why do you have to make Canaan? Say the Rovshitze. The Rovshitze Rav, Rovshitze, Rabbi Naftali of Rovshitze, in the book Zera Kodesh, there is something miyuchad. There's something special about Eretz Israel, about Israel. When you go there, it helps you surrender your ego. Surrender your ego. So it's not, you want to be spiritual, there is one place to practice your spirituality to a full capacity, only in one piece of land, Israel. You cannot practice spirituality outside. You can practice to become spiritual outside. Like me, I practice my spirituality outside. And I'm scared and I'm worried that the day that I have to move to Eretz Israel, which because I'm planning to do that, hopefully soon. And by doing that, when you walk into the land, then things happen. The ego get diminished. The whole being get smaller. You get smaller. So you say, go to that land called Canaan that I'm giving to the Israelite and choose people to go and tour the land. Those tourists change into spy. We don't call them tourists, but latour mean to tour. It's funny, it's the same word in English. To tour, latour, the same word in English. Meaning as a touring, as a tourist, you're going there. But what's the difference between a tourist and a spy? Tourists looking to have fun and looking for the good in the country. A spy is a person who's complaining all the time. He's looking at what's missing. It's like two people marry. So a person who's touring the marriage is enjoy every moment of it. A person who's spying the marriage, every time something else is missing. So are you a spy or are you a tourist with your marriage? Are you a spy or a tourist with your business? Are you a spy or a tourist with your land? Are you a spy or a tourist with what's working, what's not working? I hope you're a tourist because otherwise you don't really enjoy life. And then they say go and see if there is tree of the reason. Of course we know the explanation. Tree is the tree of life. Moshe Rabbeinu want to see if they will be able to capture that consciousness of tree of life. Zera Kodesh, Rabbi Naftali Merovshit say he's taking the pshat and say, well, Rashi said, Yesh ba'etz, he's been Talmid Chacham, meaning a wise man that teach Torah, and Ain meaning nothingness. Check if that person who teach Torah can make himself nobody or nothing. That's really the code. But also you can look at it as a Yesh ba'etz im Ain. Yesh ve'ain is the same as letter as Ishiani. Ishiani is the same letter that Chava tell to Hashem, to God, when Hashem asked her, how come did you eat from the tree? She said, the snake seduced me, but she doesn't use the word seduce, she used the word Ishiani, which is the word Yesh and Ain. Also that word is also mentioned before the Amalek attacked the Israelite. Hayesh Elokim bekirbanu im Ain, is there is the God among us or nothing. So Yesh ve'ain has to do with capability to capture the tree of life, the real tree of life, which is the Torah, which is the concept of capable to get the whole capacity of the light without busy with myself. And then they're going, and of course, I can go for the parashah forever, but I want to share with you two sections of Zohar and one section of Dari. And by me going to the parashah, which lately I'm not doing, can take me into 5 hours lecture. So they're traveling and we know what happened in the end, so that's why I'm going to skip to the story. They come back with a bad report. Kalev has been going to the Hebron, to the place where Abraham Adam and Eve and Avraham and Sarah, and Yitzchak and Rebecca, Yaakov and Leah bury. And he go there to pray on Avraham's grave to save him, because he start to feel that the spy or the tourists who become spies start to have negative energy and they looking for what's wrong. Why they looking for what's wrong? There's all mentioned looking for what's wrong because they're afraid to lose their job as being the Nesi'im, as being the president of the Israelites. Sometimes when you move to another place, you become less, so you rather stay in the same place where you're a star, which is a mistake, because if you're just a head to the fox, the Mishnah say better to be the tail of the lion than the head of the fox. You know, you want to look for more. Better to be a tail of something big than the head of something small. Yeshua, his name was changed. You know, his name was Hoshea. Then Moshe Rabbeinu had the name to him, Yeshua, meaning Hashem Yoshia, meaning God will help you. And that's why Yeshua was saved from the spy. But Kalev didn't have any way to be saved from that Atzat Meraglim, from the negativity. But the only way he could be saved is by being in the grave of Tzadikim in Hebron. And he took a risk because the giant that fell, you know, that was Nephilim, it was the angel that fell from heaven and make love to the women, gave birth to giant, and those giants were place to live was in Hebron. So you went through that, and with the Emunah, with belief, and you go to Hebron. Every time you go to Hebron, you need to know, in Hebron, buried the Mashiach ben David. The Zohar in Shlach Lecha said that the Mashiach ben David come from Hebron. And Mashiach ben Yosef come from Rachel, because Rachel is the mother of Mashiach ben Yosef. And Mashiach ben David is the coming from Leah. So you need to know where you're going every time you're going to Hebron. Anyway, there's so much information in this parashah. I would like to share everything, but anyway, so they come with the bad report. The bad report caused the nation of Israel to cry. Because of that cry, nothing is ever disappear. If you're sad for no reason, then Hashem is giving you a reason to be sad. That's how the universe works. If you're happy for no reason, Hashem gives you a reason to be happy for no reason. So they were sad for no reason. So Hashem said, okay, now you're going to cry for a reason. So the two temples been destroyed on the day that they came back for the report. What we call it is Tisha B'Av, unfortunately. That's the day that they came back. So just to understand how difficult it was. I mean, the day that they left, if I'm not mistaken, if it's Tisha B'Av, so let's count 10 days from that. So it's around Tammuz. So it's going to be Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. They left Erev Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. Erev Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, they left, which is when this week. So the Meraglim left on Tuesday. Whoever travel right now, remember, the energy of the Meraglim is in the air. Is next Tuesday night, you have the energy of spying. Don't be a spy, be a tourist. Enjoy the view. Everybody cry. God give them a reason to cry. And a lot of problems happened after that. Everything that can go wrong went wrong after that point. And of course, Moses was there, thank God, and he prayed, make the pray that we will be able to fix that. So, let's understand the meaning of those things. I mean, it's very, very important. So when we go to the Zohar of this section, I would like to read the Zohar from Shlach Lecha, verse Samech Gimel, Sulam. זה שנאמר, וישובו מתור הארץ, when they came back from touring the land. מה זה וישובו? What did it mean they came back? היינו שחזרו לצד הרע, חזרו מדרך האמת. They came back to the bad side of themselves and to the path of truth. What is the path of truth? What is the path of truth? מה זה אמת? Sometimes you meet people that take a piece of the old Torah and just that piece become truth. Is that emet? You tell me. Or the truth is when you see the whole picture and then tell them what's the truth. I think the second one is more the truth than the first one, because the first one is not a lie. He's just taking dvarim me'aksharam, he's just taking a piece of verse and just dwell only on that. Like I see that people who follow Baal Sulam, people who follow Rav Ashlag, they take 3 verses of what he say, and then they say that's the truth. But if they take the whole book, then that 3 verses, it's not the truth. It's part of the whole book. So there is people, be careful from them. They're very close, very usually to the wisdom. They are the snake. In every wisdom, there's a snake that holds the wisdom. There's books and jewelry and all this. There's always a snake that go around it. And if you don't go through the snake with wisdom, then the snake is holding that wisdom until the snake die. Once the snake die, the wisdom belongs to you, and then you can take it. This year, a lot of snake will die, Baruch Hashem, and we can take all the wisdom and spread it to the people. Because this year is the beginning of the Geula, the beginning of the redemption. וישובו, היינו שחזרו לצד הרע וחזרו מדרך האמת, שאמרו מה יצא לנו. עד היום לא ראינו טוב בעולם המלא בתורה. So look at the beautiful of how the Zohar is translating the Bereglim. It doesn't talk about Bereglim. It's talk about each person who studied Torah. So when a person studied Torah, he said, what's the point of study Torah? I didn't see nothing. I didn't see nothing by study Torah. Abayit rekam. I'm going to study in a koilel, I'm going to study in Daf Yomi or whatever I'm doing. וישבנו בין היהודים שבעם לעולם ההוא. מי יזכה מי יבוא לתוכו? מוטב לנו שלא היינו יודעים כל כך. We know that עולם הבא we cannot get. עולם הבא is only the pure, the tzaddikim, the top of the people. And we are not in that level. We study just Torah. And we study Torah, the time you spend on Torah, you don't even have money. If you don't have money, you don't have food, you don't have anything. So what's the purpose of studying the Torah? ויספרו לו ויאמרו. And they told the story. הרי עמלנו ולמדנו. So look what the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai does. It's a beautiful section in the Zohar. He takes the whole explanation of the spy and he turns it into people nowadays. People who study Torah and complain that they don't have anything. They don't get Olam Haba because they're not perfect. And they don't get Olam Hazeh because they're not rich. ולמדנו כדי לדעת חלק עולם ההוא, כמו שיעצת לנו. גם זבת חלב, דבש הוא טוב, הוא עולם העליון ההוא, כמו שידענו בתורה, אבל מי יכול לזכות בה? So what they say, yes, you promise us זבת חלב ודבש, that the land to come, meaning עולם הבא, will be honey and milk, and amazing, nourishing of all the goodness, but who can merit it? אפס כי אז העם, אז הוא העם שזכה לעולם ההוא. He said the people up there are so strong. Look at whoever had studied the Torah for many years, I appreciate that section so much. And Sabbath Dalet and Debbie and our team will put it so you can actually read it in English, so you appreciate that section. Is one of the most important sections of Avanat Nikra Torah, because it takes the Torah meaning, it gave you a whole new meaning to everything. You think so, no? It's a שלא יחשיב כל העולם כלל לעסוק בו כדי שיהיה לו עשירות גדולה. So there is people. They decided, forget about the world to come, let's make money. מי שיוכל לעשות כן, שיזכה בה, ודאי אפס כי עזה משה בה, מי שרוצה לזכות בה, צריך שיהיה עז בעשירות, והעשיר יענה עזות, צריך שיהיה לו וערים גדולות בצורות, אין בתים בלי כל טוב. A person who want to make the עולם הבא good, has to be rich. In this עולם has to have home, has on homes and everything. ועם כל זה, גם ילדי הענק ראינו שם. Even if we have all the money, there's a giant there. אנו שצריכים גוף חזק, גיבור קרי. You need the body to be healthy. משום שהתורה מטשת כוחו של אדם. When you study Torah, because it's so spiritual, it make your body weak. ויזכו באיסור והיתר, תמר ואת האור, כאשר פסול. מי יוכל לזכות בה? How can you have the merit to get there? שם יאמר האדם, שאפילו בכל זה יזכה להתגבר. Let's say you overcome all the negativity and you overcome the body issue and you overcome the idea that you don't have money, you overcome the idea you don't have food, you study well, everything is perfect. Let's say you did that. Let's say Amalek יושב בארץ הנגב. You have the Amalek in the Negev. Negev means in the south, in the dry land. Negev, Negev, dry land. הרי יצר רע קטגור, הוא זה Amalek. The evil inclination. I'm בקטרג האדם, the evil inclination will speak bad about human. נמצא תמיד בגוף, it's always in my body. והחיתי והאמורי, in all those nations, החיתי והאמורי. כמה בקטרגים נמצא שם, and there's so many persecutors, so many people going against me, how can I make it? שלא יוכל אדם להיכנס לעולם ההוא כלל. מי יזכה לו, מי יקנוס בתוכו? There's no chance for me to go לעולם הבא. From my point of view, I mean, Hashem, if he can take me by here and say, I want this guy, bring him. Yeah, that's cool, but from my point of view, there's no chance. בדברים אלו, that's truly say the Zohar של רבי שמעון בר יוחאי, what they told the people. They didn't talk about some Eretz Israel or Tel Aviv. They didn't talk about it. They told the people, what's your chances? Look at you. Didn't you look at the other woman? Didn't you a little bit eat something which is not perfectly tight? Did you? I mean, we all do mistakes. So you want to tell me, okay, Olam Haba? Olam Haba is like a perfect people can go to Olam Haba. Only the perfect people can go to the next world to come. ויניעו את לבני ישראל. They remove what from בני ישראל? Motivation. Motivation, as I studied yesterday from Rabbi Michael Maor, is the original desire. The original desire that God gave you. When you don't have motivation, זהו, נגמר. Person is done. ויניעו, משום שהוציאו השם רע עליה. They already gave a bad name to ארץ ישראל, ויוציאו את דיבת הארץ. What do you do? So look at the verse, סמ"ך ו'. אלו בני האמונה מה אמרו? What is Yeshua and Caleb said? בני אמונה is not Yeshua and Caleb, בני אמונה is people who believe, people who want to give you motivation. אם חפץ בנו השם, נתן לנו. If Hashem wants you, He will give you the land. He will give you עולם הבא. זה לא, it's not up to you. It's not up to you. You're not perfect. We know the case. But the one who decides if you go עולם הבא או לא עולם הבא, זה לא המצוות שלך. Not your mitzvot and not your capability. We all have issues. Good morning. We all have issues. דהיינו, כיוון שאתה משתדל. You're משתדל. Very important word in רבי שמעון בר יוחאי. משתדל. מה זה משתדל? In the word משתדל you have דל. דל mean poor. You're poor. You know? You're poor. שינתה ולא שת ליבו. גם לזאת, if you remember the verse. So משתדל, when a person is make himself dull, he's giving everything in his power to do. ברצון הלב, with the desire of his heart, לקדוש ברוך הוא, I want to connect to God. I have issues, but I want to connect to God. Can you imagine that you have cure for cancer and you need it for somebody you love? And there's only 10 pills left. What are you going to do? You're going to climb all walls, whatever you can. You might not get it. But you be משתדל. זה דל. ברצון הלב לקדוש ברוך הוא. You want to connect to the doctors who give it. Who is the doctor in this case? קדוש ברוך הוא. Sometimes you לא יזכה בה. You're not going to get the pills. There's other 10 people. כי אינו רוצה ממנו אלא הלב. Who is the person who's eventually connect to the doctor, connect to God? Somebody who has a heart. מה ההבדל? What's the difference between the heart and the brain? The brain is all the chokhmah, light of wisdom. Heart is all the chasadim. אין גבול ללב. There's no limitation to the heart. There's limitation to the brain. The brain is to the 5 senses. The heart is חכמי לב. חכמי לב. אי אפשר, אין לזה סוף. וישמרו אותו ראש שבקדוש, שהוא ברית הקודש. What is the לב? To be able, זה רב אשלג, רב אשלג ידיר, to keep the covenant, which is ברית מילה, שכתוב עמך כולם צדיקים, לעולם ירשו ארץ. Like the verse say, your nations are all righteous. They will be able to get the land. Which land? land of עולם הבא. דהיינו שומרים הברית, נקראים צדיקים. 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 And then it say, continue סמך זין, אבל צריכים שלא למרוד בתורה. You cannot go against the Torah, כי התורה אינה צריכה עשירות. The Torah doesn't need your money, ולא כלי כסף וזהב, doesn't need silver and gold. ואתם אל תראו את עם הארץ. That's why Caleb tell them, don't worry about these nations in Israel, meaning don't worry about those disturbances that bother you to connect to God. כי גוף שבור, אם יעסוק בתורה, הם צריך רפואה בכל. Even if you're broken, if you have not good, if you're terrible, study Torah. That's why, if you look at Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the Gemara, there's an argument. What is the reason for different avonot? Rabbi Shimon say only one reason for all the avonot: bitul Torah. Just study Torah. The Torah by itself will take care of things. If you want to fix yourself, you're wasting time. You have an argument with your family or you're selfish into something, you want to fix it, don't fix it. Go study Torah, it will fix itself. זה שלמה, נאמר, רפואות תהיה לשריך ושיקולי עצמותיך, וכתוב לכל בשר ומרפא, he's bringing different verses to explain the whole idea of how much Torah is healing, וכל המקטרגים שיש על האדם, מתהפכים לו לאוזן. What happened when a person study Torah? You know, ברא תבלין, Torah tavlin ליצר הרע. What is mean tavlin? Tavlin. If you have in your food a fly. What do? You remove the fly away. So why it doesn't say, bara yetzer hara, bara sakin, לחתוך את היצר הרע? A knife to the יצר הרע. The big מאמר from Kerem Shlomo, Rabbi Shlomo Elberstein. Rabbi Shlomo Elberstein, one of the greatest tzaddikim of Bobov. And he write, מה זה ברא לו תורה? תבלין. When you add tavlin for something, tavlin mean spice. Cumin, פלפל שחור. Depends if it's Sfardi. If it's Sfardi, you have to have cumin and everything. So you put the tavlin, and the tavlin, the spice, turn the food into better or into good. So sometimes the food is no good and become good. So from here we learn the yetzer hara, the evil inclination, the negativity, need just a tavlin of limud Torah, and through that, the yetzer hara, the evil inclination, the negativity, the samech aleph, the baal davar, whatever name you want to call it, can turn from negative into positive. That's what happened with study Torah. And the negative force say, please give seat, give place for the servant of the king. And nobody allowed to disturb that person to be useful for the king, meaning God. For that reason, Caleb said, Al tirau, don't be afraid, ki lachmenu em, they are our bread, he said. The giant, the people that they saw was scary. Who he talked to, המקטרגים בעצמם, מזמינים מזון בכל יום לאלה שעוסקים בתורה. The negative force, they will start feeding you. How the negative force will feed you? He said, said as well. Who was fed by the negative force? One person in the Bible, Eliyahu Navi, Elisha the prophet. How do we know? It said the pasuk, ואת העורבים ציוויתי לכלכלך. God said the raven are only negative force to feed Eliyahu Navi. ואף על פי שהעורבים מפותנים בסתרה היו מקנים אותו. We know that the raven is the worst creature. We know in the Teva of Noach, in the Ark of Noah, still they twist and now serve you. Caleb said, their shadow was removed from them. מהו צלם? תוקף את זה ששר ונתבטל. מהו אותם ששר בשביל שהשם איתנו. God is with us, so don't have fear. כל כוחם נתבטל. All the force was cancelled. אשרי חלקם שלא לא עוסקים בתורה לשמה. Good for the people who study Torah for the right reason. כי הם מתקשרים בקדוש ברוך הוא ממש, ונקראים אחים ורעים. And they called friend and unified friend. למען אחי ורעי אדברנה שלום בך. For my friend, I want to speak peace among you. The reason I brought this section is to understand how beautiful is our Torah. We think it's a story about some spy and tourism and Moshe Rabbeinu sent them. No, it's a story of today. When you go to study, sometimes you have doubts. You say to yourself, I'm not that great. And you might be right. I'm not that great. So what are you going to do? Will you stop? You can stop. And then you say, Olam Haba, for sure, you're not going to go to Olam Haba with all your mitzvot and the wrong thing you're doing. You lost the Olam Haba. So what are you going to do? Stop again? You can stop. Your job is to study Torah and to get close to the Creator. Once you get close to the Creator and you study Torah, the rest will happen. Don't worry, it will catch up with the time. Hashem will make sure that it happens. As it's written, we don't have to worry so much about the cheshbon of how the Creator will take care of you. Where do we learn it from? Rabbi Nachman Breslav, when he's to go to the word chen, ki matzata chen be'enai, he write, when a person become likable by God, what is likable, chen, chokhmat nistar, then Hashem kind of bring him from the lowest level into the top level. Me'ashpot yerim evion. Anyway, but I have to tell you more about the parashah, because that's the only way you can understand the parashah. To understand the parashah this week, I'm going to take you to Shara Psukim, the gate of the verses for Rabbi Isaac Luria, written by Rabbi Chaim Vital. Okay? Shlach Lecha anashim. Send yourself people to tour the land of Canaan. עניין המרגלים. What is this spy ideas, asked Dari? Why? It say, to understand that fully, you must understand that the verse that Yosef called his brother in the book of Bereshit, that it say that he called his own brother spy. שרמז להם, he gave them a hint, שהם יהיו מרגלים, that they will be the spy on the land of Israel. אבל Joshua, נשיא Ephraim, who was the president of the tribe of Ephraim is the son of Yosef, לא יהיה מרגל, he will not be a spy, because in a way he represents Yosef in a way, but what about Menashe, right? I mean, it's another thing we need to understand. But we know that eventually Yeshua represents Levi, didn't represent Ephraim. I will explain it in a second. So, when God saw that the spy about to sin, and Moshe Rabbeinu want to do that, he wanted to send a spy to see what's going on in Israel. So he said, you know what we're going to do, God said, I cannot disturb with free will of humanity, but in the same time I have to do the best thing for everybody. That's called rachamim. That's why God lead his world in mercy, but he cannot disturb us without free will. So what is God did? God said, let's the soul of the tribe that were with Joseph, that called them the Bnei Israel, will go in the body of those spies, so they can help them, and they will not make a sin. So God allowed the soul of the brother to go inside the body of the Meraglim. But it didn't help them. Because it say in the beginning that they were all Rashi, they were with the head of the tribe. Okay? So, let's continue. The 12th tribe, went to the 12th spy. But Levi, he didn't have a land in Israel, so he didn't have to go there. But for that reason, Joseph is split now to two, Menashe and Ephraim. But in the spy of Menashe came Yosef. Not because of the punishment. This has nothing to do with the punishment of the brother selling Yosef. This has to do to help the spy that been sent to Israel. לכם כתיב לבתי יוסף לבתי מנשה. Only when it comes to Yosef, it says Menashe. When it comes to Ephraim, it doesn't say, when it comes to Menashe, it says Yosef. When it comes to Ephraim, it doesn't say Yosef. Okay? So Yeshua became the spy of Ephraim. And it has no ibur. He has no ibur. By the way, ibur, those of you who don't know, a lot of time when a person doing something right, normally in Shabbat or Rosh Chodesh or holiday, then there is a soul of righteousness that enter his body. Okay? That's not, instead of Gilgul, instead of reincarnation, the soul come and help. לכן יתראה משה לשלחו. That's why Moshe didn't want to send Yeshua, because he represents Ephraim, but Menashe has the tribe, so what are you going to do? Penechta. So what he did, he gave him a special name, Yeshua, that he prayed for him, that Hashem will take care of him, as it says in Masechet Sotah, Amud Lamed Aleph. So when he named him that, what he meditated to give him the soul of the Levi, because Moshe himself was the Levi. So because it was nobody from his side, and it was Moses supposed to go. Okay, so instead of him, he sent Yeshua, Talmido, like his own son, and he took the soul of Levi and put it inside of him. So that's why in the beginning it say Shlach Lecha. In the beginning it says singular language. Shlach Lecha, sent for you, for a single person. Then sent for all of you. למטה אבותיו. תשלחו. Then he said תשלחו. Send all of them. Okay? So the idea is to understand that Yeshua represents the Levi. Yeshua represents Moshe Rabbeinu. When they went to tour the Israel, then they start negativity unfortunately influenced them, and that's why the soul of the righteous people in them, which is the tribe, left them. And when it left them, why it left? I mean, when you have ibur, you need a great merit for that ibur to last. The ibur will not last if you get angry. The ibur will not last if you commit a crime. Because the ibur can only last if you behave okay. If you don't behave okay, that ibur will leave. In reincarnation, it's a different story. Because the reincarnation, meaning you come here to live a full life. Ibur, meaning that the soul of that person finished the tikkun. They just enter your body to help you. Yeah. So, what happened to Kalev? Kalev has Yehuda within him. The tribe of Yehuda, he represents the tribe of Yehuda, but Yehuda himself went inside of him. The Levi, Yeshua. Levi was in Yeshua. So when they came back with a bad report, they already been dead. Before they get to the plague, they die. Why you say they die? The spirit of the Meraglim, I mean the spirit of the Achim, the brother, left. What about Kalev? What was so special about Kalev? Well, the story, the Midrash said that he went to the grave of Hebron. Okay, but Lama, why him? If you remember, it's in Chaye Sarah, in the parashah Chaye Sarah, בפסוק בו ברוך Hashem, when he go to make a presentation about Isaac marry Rebecca, you have to do a presentation. So Lavan said to him, come in, blessed you be he by God, שהוא גלגול אליעזר עבד אברהם. So Kalev was a gilgul of Eliezer עבד אברהם, she was capable to remove himself from Canaanite, a slave of the Canaanite, which is considered a curse based on what happened in the Ark of Noah. This sort of the Kalev. That's why it say, my servant Kalev. My servant Kalev. So why you have to call him my servant? Servant, because he was Evet Knani. He was a Canaanite servant. Now he's blessed. He was able to elevate himself. So, I want to make sure I told you everything here. Now, the point is here, we need to add something more. If we take the pshat, say Rabbi Chaim Vital, when Moses called Yeshua to go, it's a problem because last week parashah in Balotcha we read that Eldad or Bedad, brothers of Moses from a different mother, say that Moshe will die and Yeshua will lead. So they might think that Moshe sent Yeshua to die, you know. So Moshe prayed for him, may you be saved from that spy. And for that reason, when they came back, Yeshua couldn't talk. Only Kalev could talk, because if Yeshua will talk, he has an agenda to become the leader. So that's why Kalev did the talk about, in the end, you can read the parashah. Amar Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Chaim Vital, say, from the Rav Zal, if we already talk about it, we can find the good thing about the spy. What's the good thing about the spy? That they spoke bad about Israel because they didn't want Moshe to die. They knew that once they go into Israel, Moshe will die, and Yeshua will stay alive. So, for that reason, if we look at that from that point of view, look at the beautiful thing that Moshe did. He blessed Yeshua to stay alive. He blessed Yeshua to come back. What can we learn from what Rabbi Chaim Vital shared with us? There's a great lesson here. And the great lesson here is a lot of time we plan things. And what we plan is correct. But there is plan on the superficial level in the physical world. And there is plan on the higher level. When you deal with the superficial world, you might be right. I mean, it's true. But you need to get involved the tzaddikim. You need to get involved the real tzaddikim, the iburim. You might have argument with people בעולם הזה, people disagree, disagree. It doesn't really matter. Do you have the righteous people from above, the one who died, come and support you, come and guide you, come and help you? You don't want to do things just because it's right. You want to do things because there's a force above that agree with you. And if the force above disagree with you, why would you want to be successful in that? So sometimes you get angry that you're not successful in something, but if you about to be successful in something that above God and the angels and the righteous disagree with, why would you want to do that? So losing is an excellent thing, because that's when God doesn't want it to happen. Winning is also an excellent thing, that's when God wanted to happen. But losing can be a terrible thing if you lose the kedusha, if you lose the direction of doing the right thing for the holiness. And winning can be a terrible thing if you only want to win for yourself. It's something that we need to learn here. Now I'm taking you to a section in the Zohar, and again I'm trying to keep it short, but I gotta share something. All right, I'm taking you to the Zohar in Kuf Pei Dalet, Shlach Lecha. This whole section is one of the sections that everybody has to read. I always tell people, you read Shlach Lecha, you read Pinchas, you read Pekude, you know it all. I mean, if you want to know more Kabbalah, either Rabba, either Zuta. Those are the two sections. But anyway, קוף פי ד' בתוך כך ראה רבי שמעון כמה צורות של החברים. רבי שמעון saw the faces of all the חברים מסביב לו, of all the friends, of all the rabbi, of all the righteous. אמר לו, אל תירא בנו של יוחאי. זה בנו של יוחאי, son of יוחאי, don't be worried. Because he elevated himself to the highest level. אל תירא מהאור הקדוש. Do not be worried, the shining light. כתוב, ושמח בשמחת ריבונך. You are happy with the happiness of the creator. כתב כל הדברים ששמע באותו לילה, ושינה אותם והגה אותם ולא שכח דבר. Everything they teach him. I'm sorry I'm not including you in this section. This all happened as Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai want to reveal what's really happening in the upper world with female, because they always talk about the men, what's happening. So that section is therefore. So he was worried that he's knowing too much. So the angel told him to relax, it's all good. But what he did, whatever they told him, he wrote down, then he studied everything. After he studied, shana otam, studied twice, ve'aga otam, he studied lagot, meaning to close the paper, and you repeated בעל פה, you repeated without looking in the writing, what? Verbally. Orally. repeated orally, ולא שכח דבר, and he didn't forget anything. That's Rabbi Shimon. וראו, that candle that he liked to study, shined the whole night till the morning. כשבא הבוקר, when the morning came, he raised his eyes, and he saw another light that come from heaven. השפיל עיניו למטה, he saw, he lowered his eyes, חזר כבתחילה. And again, of course, the meaning here is not literally. It's a אור כלי. וראה אותו בכל רקיע השיר ועלה באותו האור צורת הבית. And he saw the light of בית המקדש. כלומר שעשה זיווג של המלכות בזרע אנפין. מה זה בית המקדש? זיווג, מלכות בזרע אנפין. בית המקדש, the holy temple, meaning that the capacity of the desire and the fulfillment of the Ensof meet each other. וכמה ציורים, שמח רבי שמעון, רבי שמעון was happy. הוא כרגע נגנז אור, and right away that light disappeared. בתוך כך, while he's going to that, באו בית שליחים. Two messengers came, מצאו אותו ראשו בית ברכיו. They found his head between his knee. אמרו לו, שלום עליך אדוני. Say hello to you, my master, our master. שלום, hello. למי שהעליונים ותחתונים רוצים להקדים לו שלום. To who, that the upper and the lower love to say hello to him. קום, rise. קם רבי שמעון ושמח בהם. rise רבי שמעון, he was happy with them. אמרו לו, ולא ראית נחת רוח שעשה לך אדונך? Did you see, or didn't you see, the pleasure that the Creator did to you? ראית אור בית המקדש ברקיע. You were able to see the light of the temple in heaven. מה זה אור? דהיינו הרת הזיווג של מלכות בזרע אנפין, רקיע. רקיע mean permanent. Permanent is כמו לרקוע. לרקוע is the work that the artist does with the hammer and the copper. זה נקרא לרקוע. You know? So you can do drawing this. So see, you saw that God revealed to you. אמר להם, ראיתי, say, I did see it, I saw it. אמרו לו, בוא, בשעה הוציא הקדוש ברוך הוא תאום שהוא המסך של בית המקדש. say, come, God took out the תאום שהוא המסך של בית המקדש. God took the curtain of בית המקדש. What is the curtain of בית המקדש? The strongest desire. But the strongest desire is to be hidden, because if we don't use it right, it can be hurtful for people. שהוא המלכות, והעבירו בים הגדול שהוא בינה. God took the מלכות, and took it to the ocean. What is the ocean? בינה. What is בינה? מלכות ובינה ביחד. What is it? צמצום ב'. מאור שלו דיינו מאור המיתוק של המסך של מלכות בבינה, המאיר ברקי הצורות בית המקדש שהוא עושה את הזיווג. And by doing דין ברחמים, הכל בסדר. אמרו לו, the two angels, the two שליחים, רב מטיפתא שדורש בצלומך. The rabbi of the yeshiva above say hello to you. והרי ידע שאנו שליחים אליך, I know that we came to you. כמה דברים חדשים מהעתיק להתחדש בתורה בלילה הזה. So many things, עתיק, reveal to us, עתיק is the כתר of הצילות. אמר להם, בבקשה מכם, אמרו דבר אחד מהם. May I have one thing from what you guys study? אמרו לו, they told them, לא ניתנה לנו רשות לגלותם. We don't have the permission to reveal them. בזה שבאנו אליך, אלא דבר חדש אחד יש לנו אליך אתה. But we allowed to share something else. אמרו לו, פתח רב מטיפתא ואמר, the rabbi they don't say his name, he open and say, ואומר השם אל אברהם, לך לך מארצך. God said to אברהם, go away from the land. Now why is bring it to Shlach Lecha? Because Shlach Lecha is almost like לך לך. And then, it's also, משום שאיר בו האור באופן הזה, למשל כן, אמרנו לך לך, משום שהאור לא יכול להעיר בו באופן אחר, אלא באופן זה. Sometimes the light cannot shine the way you want it to shine. כי מי שלא זוכה במקום זה, ילך ויתור עצמו למקום אחר. Sometimes you don't have muzzle in one physical place, you have to move to another place, עד שהמזל יתחיל. ויזכה שם, and then you marry there. עץ הדולק והאור אינו עולה, ומאיר בו עיננו אותו ויעלו בו. You take a piece of wood, you try to barbecue, and לא הולך, the fire doesn't catch the wood. What do? You shake it a little bit. If you remember those of you who are above 40, we used to do fan for the barbecue. The fan is the lech lecha, is the move things away. ויעיר, then it will shine. ואמרו השליחים, those two angels, those two messengers say, היינו מוכנים לשמוע המשך הדברים ברב מטיפתא. was supposed to finish the shiur, the lecture in the yeshiva. אבל משום שהיינו צריכים לבוא אליך, but because he sent us to you, לא רצינו להתעכב. We're not allowed to delay. We have to come to see רבי שמעון. שמח רבי שמעון. רבי שמעון was happy. אמרו לו, חסיד קדוש. זה וואו, wonderful חסיד, wonderful good person, wonderful holy person. כל הדברים שלנו בתורה, דברים קצרים. You need to know the way we study in heaven, everything is short. It's not long. And בכל דבר ודבר, it's very small thing. דנו שלמור בקיצור נמרץ, everything is so short. ואלו דברים קצרים, כמה הם דברים גדולים ועליונים. But those short thing, אז לכתר, they're so condensed. עד שאין להם שיעור, there's no measure to how big it are. כי אין לנו ספקות, it's not like you human being, that you have doubts. We don't have doubts, whatever come there, it's perfect. אלא בירורה של התורה הנכונה. So even if it sounds like we overcoming doubts, it's more בירורים, it's more sifting the Torah. ואתה ברב מטיפתא, but the rabbi said, those things, על עיקר הנשמה, on the soul. למה אינם מאירם במקום זה, וזה אוכל להעיר במקום אחר? Why soul sometimes doesn't shine in a certain place, but when you move the soul to another place, it shine. But אתה לא זכינו בהם, שלא צריכים לבוא אליך. We didn't have the merit until we come to you. Why it was very important for me to share this with you guys? Are those angels come to us too? The answer is yes. Do we hear them? Most of the time not, unfortunately. We have to purify ourselves, we have to clear ourselves with prayer, with study of Torah, and then slowly, those angels will be revealed to you. It's called התגלות. Now, second lesson, if you don't have התגלות in one place, you don't feel you go spiritually, you have to move to another place where there is spirituality. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck and you will be in the same place and you wait. You cannot move for physicality. If you move for physicality, then bracha. But if you move for spirituality, there is bracha. And may all of us have the merit, the zechut, that this week we will know what we need to do and where we need to move to reveal our spiritual being. Toda rabah, and have a wonderful week.